Hello, good evening, dear friends. As I said in the morning, I'm here live. I'm doing live for the first time. I'm not very sure how to go about. I have a topic in my mind to talk about, and the topic is the consumption patterns of the Indian cinema. I'm not going to talk about something very theoretical, but I am into film studies and I am teaching semiotics of cinema and popular culture for quite a long time now. And considering these experiences, I would like to put forward my views about the consumption pattern of the audiences of Indian cinema, because there has been a lot of variation in the kind of content that we receive in the form of cinema. There was a time, like not very long back, when I was doing my post-graduation and graduation, we had quite a good number of single screen theaters, or which was known as theaters in the past. And at that time, like in Vadodara itself, where I belonged to and where I was living at that time, we had approximately 20 single screen theaters. In my small village where I used to live, we had a theater. In my neighboring village, we had 2-3 theaters. But gradually, these theaters are replaced with what we now call multiplexes, where you have multiple screens. And apart from those multiple screens, we also have a kind of mall with that theater, where you can buy popcorns, pizza, Coca-Cola, etc. Now, the biggest change that the multiplexes brought is the price of tickets. I have seen movies in 5 rupees in Vadodara in 2004 and 2005. And today, the minimal ticket is probably 90 rupees on some special days for some special occasions. Of course, the time has changed, but that 90 rupees is the minimal. The normal tickets are close to 300, 350, 400 rupees. So it is, of course, difficult for a common man, for a middle class person, to regularly visit theaters, especially, let's say, if your family has 4 members and you want to go and watch a film together. That 300 rupees will be converted into 1200 rupees, plus you will buy something to eat there, which is always approximately 300 to 500 rupees. One film in that sense will cost you around 1500 to 2000 rupees. So it is really difficult for the middle class people to regularly watch films in theaters or so-called multiplexes. But apart from that, there are few other aspects. For example, there is a very powerful growth of the TV channels in the beginning, like after 1995, there are a lot of TV channels coming, and then there are TV channels 24/7 dedicated to screening films. So now you have other avenues to watch films, especially in the comfort of your own house, in the television set that you have. You can watch films. Earlier we used to get disconnection, which was kind of centralized connection, and it must be controlled by someone. Then we have set-top boxes, and now we have evolved into that area also, and now we have something like Geo TV or Airtel TV and all, where you choose what channels you want to watch. There are different packages, and again you have a lot of choices in terms of channels, in terms of what kind of channels you want. So you get to see the normal Hindi channels where you can watch typical Bollywood commercial films. But apart from that, there are channels dedicated to the Hollywood films. So you can watch Hollywood films in English. There are also channels dedicated to the Hollywood films dubbed into Hindi, and you can watch those Hollywood films in Hindi language. Plus you also have regional channels where you can watch the films from regional languages. So now you have a lot to choose from. Do you want to watch a regional film, like being a Gujarati, do you like to watch Gujarati film? Or being a Malayali, do you like to watch a Malayalam film? Or being a Bengali, do you want to watch a Bengali film? There are these choices available even on your television set. So again, as a consumer, I have very many choices to select from. And then while making those choices, I also have to think about that what kind of content I want to consume. Say for example, I'm watching a film on a television set, and my family is also there with me. So I will be selecting the film that has to be seen by the family together. Of course, most of the content on television channels are what we call fit for that kind of consumption, are made fit for that kind of consumption. But then there is another evolution in the name of OTT platforms. And in this case, OTT platforms are more or less privatized consumption of the content. Like we always discuss these things in the classrooms and seminars and conferences, that the kind of content served on OTT platforms are rather very violent and vulgar. There are a lot of abusive words used, and for a lot of other OTT platforms you will also have considerable nudity. So that is again a different issue that we need to understand here. Traditionally, we understand film going is a kind of public event. If you think in terms of ethnography, it's a kind of public speech situation, where the entire family or a group of friends together decide which film we want to watch, and they go to see that film. So, and there are plenty of other such people in the same theater, and many of them we know probably. So there is this public consumption of the content, and many times we also like to post on our social media platforms that we are at certain theater watching XYZ film. So we not only consume that film, but we also make other people aware about our consumption process, that we are at so and so multiplex or so and so theater with so and so people, and we are watching some specific film. So all these details are already provided on our social media, and probably we also add our images or pictures to give a proof. So this process itself guarantees that we are engaging into a public event. We want people to know that we are into that particular public event. On the other hand, when we are consuming a content, any specific content on some specific OTT, we don't have to move to a particular space to consume that content. And in majority of the cases, we do not even post about the content that we consume. We are probably watching that content on our laptop, or we are using our mobile as a screen, and we are watching some specific OTT content on our mobile screen. And at times we also have that on our smart TV. Now in this case, the instruments that we are choosing to consume the content, these instruments are privatized. Okay. Mobile screen is small or laptop is small, and I can, like, one person can watch at a time. And majority of OTT content is consumed is either on mobile, and in fact majority of it is consumed on mobile, on smart TVs and laptops, computers. So we are here consuming something that is very, very privatized, and the kind of instrument that we are choosing, that is also private. It is not a public viewing experience the way we used to get in the theaters. So the content creators for the OTT, they are also aware that majority of the people consuming that content are consuming that content in a privatized manner. And considering that aspect, they are free to create the content that can be consumed in private. So the kind of violence we see on screen, specifically on OTT, cannot be made available in theaters. Okay. The theater is again a public space, and there are many people around us when we are watching it. Of course, when we are talking about film consumption, we are also using Plato's cave as an allegory, that, and we are basically watching it in dark. We are all individualized before we start watching any of this. Okay. So we are probably stripped from our social subjectivity, and we are asked to engage with the screen even when we are consuming something in theaters or multiplexes. But somewhere we are conscious that we are not alone. There are people around us, and they are also aware that I am there beside him or her. But in case of OTT, there is no one. There is one-to-one interaction between the screen and the consumer, and that allows the content creators to create the content that can be consumed in private space. In a way, it is good for the creative aspects, that you are as a creator considerably free to present whatever you want to present. But then the problem is the so-called mass consumption of this content. That is, majority of them they are not consuming from some specific artistic perspective. Okay. They are probably consuming because it is violent. They are consuming it because it is vulgar. They are consuming it because there is a lot of nudity. So that is the choice that the consumer is consciously making, and that choice is available to that consumer on the virtue of having the subscription to certain OTT platforms. Okay. So considering this phenomena, if something is popular on OTT, that cannot mean that that thing is artistically good. That is probably that may probably mean that the content is appealing. The content is probably enticing for certain group of people to consume. Okay. And OTT is governed by the kind of choices you are making, the kind of suggestions that you get on OTT platforms. They are directly associated with your previous choices. So you keep on getting similar content in the suggestion box. And one of the biggest issue with the OTTs is to select the right content. Say for example, I want to watch something, I have subscription to 2-3 OTT channels or OTT platforms. So my first job there is to search for the content that I want to consume. Search for the right kind of film or right kind of web series or right kind of stand-up comedy or program that's available. And in this process, it consumes approximately 15 to 20 minutes every time, if I don't depend on the suggestions. There are two options there. One, I'm very sure what I want to watch and I will simply search for it and I find it out and I watch it. So for that matter, I must be aware that this is a good content and I want to consume that content. That is one thing. Another possibility is that I'm not sure what I want to watch. I am free and I want to watch something. And at that time, I'll probably go into that suggestion trap. And whatever I've seen in the past, very many other such content, similar content will be suggested. Okay. And maybe reading those 1-2 lines or some ratings given by Rotten Tomato or IMDb, I'll select something. Okay. And I'm not sure the thing that I'm selecting is really of my interest or not. But if that particular selection also serves the same basic things like violence, vulgarity, okay, then it will keep us going. Okay. So this is where there is something called illusion of choice. Okay. Like in first case, we know what we want to consume, so we are not making a choice, we are simply searching for it. And in second case, there is some suggestions from some artificial intelligence or some system of OTTs, and out of those selections we will make one choice. So in that case, there is very limited option. Of course, OTT platforms have so much of content. Like if you start searching for things, you'll end up on the other side of the world, and still you are not sure whether you should watch one thing or the other. There's so much of things available. So this is where our consumption of the entertainment. Again, now we need to think first of all that why are we watching anything? What is my objective of reading or watching certain specific content, either in theater or on OTT platform or some channel, in any case? Because everyone is not let's say well aware and well educated about various technical, theoretical, aesthetic aspects of the visual content that they are consuming. In fact, majority of the people are into the consumption of those things out of the what we call craving for entertainment. They are not theoretically very what we call strong to make those choices. The majority of us are not theoretically that strong in making these kind of choices. So majority of us are turning to any of these channel from the perspective of entertainment. So stylized fightings and songs and dance numbers, they are entertaining, and then you will have a lot of like other aspects like comedy and thriller, psychological thrillers that keeps our attention grounded to those particular screens. So this is where the choice is primarily governed by that craving for the entertainment. Like everyone is not a person who studies cinema or wants to know more about popular culture or wants to understand the patterns of consumption or the impact of OTTs, channels and multiplexes and all these things. Okay. So majority of us are there to watch a film or web series or TV serial, okay, just because we want the entertainment. So then there is very limited logic matters, and that's also a reason that the kind of films that we are making blockbusters, okay, because that entertainment factor matters for majority of the audience when it is a matter of consumption. Okay. So I think that's all I wanted to talk about. Okay. Your comments are welcome. I will try to answer if you put something in the comment, and hopefully we will meet again soon for one more such live session, maybe something related, something different, but something close to popular culture and media studies, film studies. Right. So thank you for joining. See you next time. Bye.